Hello folks, Phil Gallagher of ThrabenU here for another Legacy video. Today we are going to be playing with Donnie M's Green-White Enchantress deck list. And this build is pretty interesting. So I've played a good amount of Enchantress over the years in various flavors, and this one's a little different. So this version is playing the Rest in Peace Helm of Obedience combo. And in case you're not familiar with how that works, with Rest in Peace in play, for a single mana, Helm of Obedience will mill out your opponent completely, and then they'll go to draw a card, and oops, they won the game, or sorry, lost the game for having an empty library. And to support this combo, this version of the deck has Enlightened Tutor. Now, generally speaking, I do not like Enlightened Tutor in Enchantress. Once you get going, you just keep playing cards until you just naturally draw what you need. You don't really need that much selection. You know, you have Sterling Groves in the deck already, and it's actually pretty rare that you end up cracking that and using that as a tutor in the first place. So generally speaking, I do not like Enlightened Tutor in this deck, and we'll see how it fares here. But generally speaking, I am of the opinion that Enlightened Tutor is not a playable legacy card, and we'll see if I feel differently about it in this deck. So what does the Enlightened Tutor cost us? The Enlightened Tutor probably costs us Abundant Growth or maybe Carpet of Flowers in Game 1 scenarios. And this version is also playing On Thin Ice as removal. On Thin Ice as removal, there we go. Thank you, Moto. And I have mixed feelings about this card. I like this card as an option for Enchantress. I think it is quite good. However, if you take a look at the mana base, you can see here that there's one basic snow-covered plains. And that means that On Thin Ice is not actually a turn 1 removal spell a good portion of the time. It actually ends up being a turn 2 removal spell because you have to do something like cast a Utopia Sprawl and then name white in order to cast it. There's also some scenarios where one of your lands can get Flicker Wisped and then your On Thin Ice gets destroyed, but I think that sort of risk is worth the upside of this card. Now this version also has the Solitary Confinement lock, which, in case you're not familiar with this real old Legacy staple, at the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice this unless you discard a card, you don't get a draw step anymore, and you have Shroud and prevent all damage that would be dealt to you. So it's a pretty good way, you have 2 or more Enchantress effects in play, and that's a soft lock or sometimes even a hard lock on the rest of the game. The thing that has changed the most about Enchantress recently is the inclusion of Sythis Harvest Hand. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, you gain a life and draw a card. So this is an additional 2 mana Enchantress effect that also has incidental life gain. And as we've seen with cards like Oko and Uro over the last few years, incidental life gain, when it's stapled to a card that you otherwise would want to be playing, is quite strong. As far as the sideboard goes, it's mostly stock Enchantress stuff, except Authority of the Councils. Creatures your opponents control enter the battlefield tapped. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under an opponent's control, you gain 1 life. I'm not sure how I feel about that card or what exactly that card is supposed to be doing. I understand that card can be powerful. I've played in other formats like Historic Life Gain before, but I don't know that this is better than just having, say, the 4th Sythis in the sideboard for when you want that effect. The creatures entering the battlefield tapped matters against some things like, say, Elves, or against haste creatures like Reality Smasher. I guess you can stop Ragavan dashing, but I don't know that I'm sold on that card. I like a lot of the other stuff that's in the sideboard. So for example, you have access to Elephant Grass, which is a great way to stop creatures. But again, rather than Elephant Grass, this deck is looking to try On Thin Ice in Game 1 as its removal suite. I think that's all I have to say about this one, other than the fact that this version is on 3 Serra's Sanctum, and the number of Serra's Sanctum that this deck has played has been in flux quite a bit. I like the 3rd Serra's Sanctum in builds that don't have Living Wish and also have Emrakul. It's just another way to just really pump mana into Destiny Spinner as well. But we may feel like the flex land problem where we end up with some opening hands that have double Serra's Sanctum and can't really get off the ground. Sarah's Sanctum is something you want to draw in the mid to late game, not necessarily the early game. All right, let's go ahead and hop into things. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing for Legacy, Modern, and Vintage content 5 days a week. And if you are subscribed, please consider throwing me some likes. That's the easiest way to support my content for free. If you want to try out this deck or get one of your own decks on the channel, that information is available on the video description. The final thing I'm going to say here is that I am going to start experimenting with some members-only videos. And all of my normal content will always be free and available to everyone. That's something that's very important to me. But for analytics-based reasons, there's some stuff that I just can't release on YouTube, or it will actively hurt the amount of money that I am making producing content. And some of the really high-end strategy stuff doesn't tend to perform well, and me playing other games or doing life updates and things like that, those things don't tend to perform well. So there are going to start being some members-only videos. I am going to be recording one with Death and Taxes, doing sort of a deep dive in various builds of the deck in 2021, and I'm also going to do a sort of life update about my new computer that I am getting in a couple of days, which I'll have had for a week or a week and a half by the time you all see this video. I believe that these members-only videos will be available by the time that you see this video, so please consider clicking the join button if you want to join that community, get in my Discord, and see these bonus videos. Alright, let's battle. Okay, my round 1 opening hand only has 1 land. This has got to be a mulligan. My second hand here is totally fine. I'll be keeping this one. I'll be tossing back the Helm. And the beginning of this game plays itself. I 100% have to go and fetch a basic forest and play Utopia Sprawl. I think I just want to name green with this. I have access to a basic plains. And I could get into the weeds of like why that is. It's okay. Aluda Delta. Let's attempt to fetch first and see if I randomly walk into like a stifle. I do not. Let's grab this and play Argothian Enchantress. Okay. There's a force pitching a Baleful Strix. That's fine. I do want to play the Argothian Enchantress first there. Like I know Destiny Spinner would make my stuff uncounterable, but my hand is a little light in terms of resources, and I really want to get everything I can in terms of card draw out of my stuff. There's also some scenarios you can walk into where like you play a Destiny Spinner, you think you're safe, and then it gets like lightning bolted, fatal pushed, whatever, and then you get dazed. And that sort of scenario would be pretty bad for me. I'm going to follow the same sequence again. Alright. Now, unlike Allosaurus Shepherd, this one itself is actually counterable. Nice. So, what sort of deck is my opponent? They could just be a bug control deck, they could be an Aluren deck. More info is required. I need a little more going on. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Do I want to just play on Thin Ice and just cantrip, turn it into a different card? I think I do. It also just increases my enchantment count. I think this short-term play is fine here. Alright, so generally speaking with your lands, go big to small. That tends to work out best. Okay, what about now? Now do I want to hold on Thin Ice? Oh no, I think I'll keep going. Alright. I guess I can spread these apart. Okay, I found another Enchantress's Presence. Great. Very happy with how that turn went. Okay. If I randomly just die here to an Aluren? Nope, it is an Uro. Okay with me. Next turn would be super cool if I just found a Rest in Peace. Alright. Always yes, always yield. How does he do it? How does he do it? I think I'll play Sythis into Rest in Peace. Alright, so let's tap this. Play Sythis. So take this. Play the Rest in Peace. Always yield. Nice, nice, nice. We've nuked the graveyard here, and we have Helm combo sort of like lurking in the wait as well. And solitary confinement lockout. Yeah, I am leagues ahead here. Assuming my opponent is just fair bug and doesn't have an infinite combo that kills me. That's not 100% clear yet based on the things that I've seen. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mana, potentially 8 mana next turn. Okay. A green sun is fine. That's presumably going to be like a Leovold. Yep. I want to land. I'll take a land. All right. So let's go land. Let's remove the Leovold. As if my opponent has a Force of Will effect. This is probably good enough to just get it. All right, goodbye. I'm going to go ahead and fetch that card off the top of my library. And let's see if my opponent dies. It's fine if they don't die. But we'll just try to kill him here. And there we see the concession before they show me their entire library. So, presence of green sun makes me lean towards this is going to be a fair deck, but I still don't know for sure. The good news is I probably don't need to sideboard very much. I will probably play Carpet of Flowers, and I will probably play Veil of Summer. That might be about it. I can consider Emrakul as well. I'm going to junk Enlightened Tutors, and from there I have to decide, like, what suite of, like, answers and such do I want. I'm going to board Miri's Guile out against the Abrupt Decay deck. I know about Leovold, so that probably makes me want to keep the On Thin Ices. They can't trip when they're bad anyway. Solitary Confinement is a little bit less reliable versus a deck that has Abrupt Decay. But at the same time, if my opponent does have things like Tarmogoyfs, which I don't think they do, but hypothetically, if they do, I really want to have that card as a way to make it to the late game. I think I can safely trim one of those, and this leaves me with 4 Helms plus Solitary Confinement plus Destiny Spinner as ways to kill. I think I'm good with this. Possible I'm supposed to board in the Emrakul as well, because just like Emrakul can't be countered. And if I get going and do my thing, it's a hell of a finisher. Oh right, I forgot about that Yorion they showed me. This hand is a mana short of being able to do stuff. I think I'm going to just mulligan it. This hand is all the mana short of doing stuff. This is an acceptable 5-card hand with major weaknesses. On 5, I think I just need to keep this, and we'll see if I can put together something reasonable. You know, at 4 cards, you're really looking for just like the absolute perfects in order to like do everything you want to do. Pop this out so I don't forget it. Sure. Let's grab a basic plains, and let's just jam this proactively. I presume it will resolve. My opponent just like Abrupt Decays it here. That's fine. Like, I got a 1-for-1 trade out of it. Alright, Ice Fang Coatl, sure. Notably in this matchup, my opponent doesn't really care about Death Touch the vast majority of the time, so they can just, like, fetch the lands they need to cast their spells. Do I want to thin the deck of a land here? I think I do. I took out the Miri's Guile, so most of my reasons for wanting a shuffle effect have been mitigated. Now, my opponent can have Plague Engineers, my opponent can have Edicts. Sythis Enchantress isn't 100% as safe. Intuition. Okay, so they are Aluren after all. Well, I guess I give them a Cavern Harpy. Giving them Cavern Harpy makes it so they require more pieces to get the kill. Alright. Am I dead? There is a very good chance that I am dead. So my opponent can use Cavern Harpy and draw a whole bunch of cards here, but we would have died to the Acerak as well. So I'm just going to stop talking and cut out the dead space, and then when my opponent does something new and interesting, I will chime back in. Okay, my opponent has found an Uro. Now, my opponent can just bounce this so that, like, rest in peace is not an issue. And that's what we're going to see. Now, I don't know how many win conditions my opponent has, so I'm not just going to concede here, but this does mean that my opponent can basically draw their entire deck here. But the Acerak went to exile. Oh, okay, they have another. I'm going to concede to that, so my opponent does not have to click through that. Acerak infinitely drains you and does some other stuff. We're not going to make my opponent click through that. Okay. So, Deafening Silence, unfortunately, not good against Aluren. Each player can't cast more than one non-creature spell each turn. This prevents all damage, but it doesn't prevent the draining that Acerak does. Okay, so what is my plan versus this deck now that I know what's going on? I don't want Solitary Confinement anymore. I probably want Emrakul as something big that just ends the game. And I might want Enlightened Tutor as a way to just assemble Rip Helm combo more consistently. I think I'm going to board Veil of Summer out now. Like, I know my opponent has counterspells, I know my opponent has Abrupt Decays, and those things can be important and all, but given that my opponent can tap 4 mana and I can instantly lose the game, I don't think I'm going to have time to hold up Veil of Summer super consistently. I also going to go down 1 on Thin Ice for a Mary's Guile, and again, just play that little bit more selection to work towards consistently enabling my combo. Okay. This hand doesn't really do anything. This hand, unfortunately, also doesn't really do anything. Like, I have 3 lands, but only 2 mana. Can't accelerate into this. I have to go to 5. God damn it. This has no green sources to get me started. Oh man, Enchantress is really not good on 4 cards. I'm going to 4. Hand is awful. I'm keeping it, but this hand is awful. My opponent plays around Carpet of Flowers. I'm pretty screwed. Alright. So I don't know if I'm supposed to... Oh wait, I'm getting rid of 3 cards. Never mind. I am just going to play Carpet on 1. I know there's worlds where I'm supposed to, like, wait on this card until my opponent plays, like, an island, but if my opponent plays an island on turn 1, I want to be able to Enchantress Presence on turn 2. Alright, cantrip away. Leovold. Yep. Okay, we're totally losing this game. We'll give it the old college try, but falling to 4 plus my opponent just naturally having the one of Leovold so that it can happen on turn 3 instead of turn 4 via Green Sun is rough. Alright. So there's the mana dork. That guarantees Leovold next turn. Yep. That's not an island. I'll Wild Growth this so I can play Enchantress's Presence next turn, but Leovold will be in play and then it won't matter. Oh wait, I have the other land I randomly spiked is Caracas. That is worth something. Yep. We actually may see my opponent's Yorion do something this game. At Oath of Nissa, and Abundant Growth. They're not playing islands, and they're also not playing out Leovold into the Caracas. I think I want to play the more expensive card this turn. Because next turn that gives me the possibility of, you know, maybe playing Sythis and drawing a card. My opponent has 2 snow-covered permanents. Randomly check, that's not snow-covered. I don't think I want to attack here. My opponent randomly has, like, Endurance. I don't want to get got. Not necessarily expecting that, but if I win this game, I am not going to win by inches. I am going to win by a landslide. Alright. You have an Aluren. Let's see if I die. Alright. Aluren mana is happening. Okay. I'll cast this in response so I can get my card draw. Always yield to that. Okay. And I'll have 6. Do your worst, opponent. I mean, please don't do your worst. I would like another turn. Also, opponent has no No islands. No bad carpet of flowers. I should have bounced Leovold in upkeep. Oh no, Aluren. Hmm. That's obnoxious. That's really obnoxious. Yes. I'll add green. I am so fucked. Yeah, now that Aluren is in play, bouncing a Leovold doesn't actually accomplish anything that I want it to accomplish. Alright. Cool. Good news is I can still get some life. I think I am effectively dead, but I'm not literally dead, so I won't concede. This is definitely an opportunity where... Oh my god. So, I said yes to this, but I haven't technically added the mana yet. So, it triggers again. Oh my god. Did not know that portion of the ruling. That's brutal. Alright. I assume that I'm either effectively or actually dead this turn. But like, opponent's deck is quite large. Things can happen. Sure. Green Sun away. Sure. Is there any way I can disrupt this? Bounce Uro, but then they can... yeah, alright. You know what? We're done here. GG's. Multifor plus, stumbling a little bit plus Leovold is too much. Alright, round 2 opening hand is weird because you usually don't keep a hand without an Enchantress effect, but this is just a hand that naturally has the Rest in Peace Helm combo and can go for a quick Goldfish. I think that means that this hand is acceptable. Rest in Peace also randomly could hose my opponent's deck and we could get a free roll that way. And that doesn't happen too often, but, it's something to think about. And that's a shuffle off the Ponder as well. Oh, now we have an Enchantress effect too. Hand's great. Let's get our ramp on. Didn't get dazed. Life is good. Yeah, cantrip away. Did you just... Oh, nope, did not get Brainstorm locked. Okay. How do I want to play this turn? I think I just want to jam the Enchantress's presence. Because if it resolves, it's fantastic, and if it doesn't resolve, I still have 2 pieces of the Rip Helm combo. I also have an Enlightened Tutor so that I can find another piece of the combo if I end up missing one of them. We're probably playing against, like, something Miracles or Miracles adjacent, like Bant. Could be a Stoneblade deck, could be a Standstill deck, but something of that general nature. Oh, it resolved. Now I have some options for how I can play out this game. Oh, opponent is just passing the turn again. I think this is a Destiny Spinner turn. Again, I don't think I need to turbo towards a win. I'd like to just cantrip a couple times and try to hit my land drops here. And accordingly, I think I will just cast On Thin Ice as a draw 1 card. Especially hitting Serra Sanctum would just be the nuts. But any land is really fine. And then we'll just go Savannah Pass. And potentially on my opponent's turn, I can Enlighten Tutor for something. Although, honestly, I'm mostly looking for lands, but I guess, like, Wild Growth effects are still pretty darn good. Alright. Just no plays. I guess I'll cast the Enlightened Tutor. It resolves. Could grab a Sterling Grove and just, like, build some redundancy and safety. I think I like that idea. So this is theoretically uncounterable. I don't know if that will be true in practice, but let's try. Okay. My stuff is all shroudy and hexproofy. Do I want to try and hit a land drop by playing Rest in Peace, or do I want to play Argothian Enchantress? I think I want to try and hit a land drop. There it is. Nice. Okay, so I could see a Snapcaster Mage on the other side of the table. Can't see an Endurance. Can't see a Solitude that can block. Shark Typhoon isn't big enough. My attack should be safe. I guess there could be like a Restoration Angel that would make this not safe, but that's very exceedingly rare. What the hell is going on over there? Are you like a blue-white Omnitel deck with multiple basic planes? You're not doing control deck things. Okay. Solve the equation. Sure. Okay, they are a blue-white show and tell deck. Okay. I just beat Show and Tell by putting in Helm of Obedience and killing my opponent. That's super dope. I could also just tutor up an Oblivion Ring at any point. Yeah, maybe I want to do that. Maybe I want to tutor up Oblivion Ring. 4 mana, cast Helm. It's lethal if it resolves, and if it doesn't resolve, I still have Oblivion Ring in hand. Let's do that. Alright. Oblivion Ring. Okay. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Helm. And kill you. Oh wow, opponent is actually going to let me see their whole deck. I'm super, super happy about that. I don't know exactly what this build looks like. Alright, solve the equations. Omniscience, Show and Tell, Emrakul's. Alright, one of Orum's Chant. Okay, yeah, so... Hold on, are there no Cunning Wishes? Yeah, there's no Cunning Wishes, so an Oblivion Ring effect in hand is incredibly powerful. There's no, like, Game 1 Brazen Borrower sort of effects either. Okay, good to know. No Teferi Game 1 either. Okay. So I'm 100% bringing in my own Emrakul for the memes. The elephant grasses are interesting. So, like, basically my whole sideboard is boardable. Not necessarily good, but playable. I don't think I want On Thin Ice for this matchup. It answers Emrakul, but not Omniscience, and I'd prefer not to play that gambling game if I can avoid it. Solitary Confinement is not super good against an attacking Emrakul. Like, it stops the 15 damage, but you still lose 6 permanents. So I'll probably take those out. Miri's Guile is also cuttable or keepable. That's kind of whatever. I think Deafening Silence hurts me more than helps me in many cases. It's hard for me to seal away an Omniscience. Or 2 carpets. I might end up keeping some On Thin Ice because I don't... Like, Elephant Grass is medium. I guess On Thin Ice is also medium, and they both can cantrip. Yeah, let's try something like this. Okay, this hand's pretty good. I have initial mana acceleration into a Sythis. I'll have some enchantments left over to cast. I have a way to stop an initial Emrakul attack. And Serra's Sanctum can provide a huge, huge boost of mana. Sterling Grove is a fine draw. That means that I have theoretical access to Oblivion Ring pretty early on. Now, importantly here, I want to Utopia Sprawl here. And name white, I believe. Then I can cast Sythis off this land. Get a forest, wild growth it. And then next turn, just go ham with Serra's Sanctum. Oh, did you miss your land drop? Oh, jeez. That is no bueno. Let's grab a basic forest here. And let's play this turn this way. Note I am optimizing my number of card draws here, not my mana production. I can play a wild growth prior to casting the Sythis to end up having 1 more mana. But then I lose out on 1 card draw later. And given how much mana I'm going to have, I don't think I want to miss out on the card draws. Okay. Fetch away, friend. Since you missed out on your second land drop, I get time to set up, which is just terrifying. Okay. I think I'm going to value safety over speed of killing my opponent. I think I'm going to start by playing a Sterling Grove. Okay, that eats a counter. That's fine, because this represents, you know, an Oblivion Ring. So now, I want to Wild Growth the Serra's Sanctum. I think I do. Okay. Let's just continue this train. Oh wait, I can't do that. I can do like this. Nice. We'll just take more green mana. We have all the white mana I could possibly need. I will just play out an Elephant Grass as a cantrip here. I think land. Have I played a land this turn? Yeah, this is turn 3 I have. Then in that case, I'm just going to play a Helm. What did my opponent do on their last turn? They fetch, played Ponder, and then shuffled. So this is just a random card that's on top of their library. That's fine. Some very small percentage of the time I mill an Emrakul there, which is hilarious. Get in there, Sythis. So next turn I can actually helm them for like a third of their deck, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I can helm them for a lot. Since I have another Elephant Grass I can cast, and it would cost me multiple mana to do this, I'm just going to let this go. Alright, another Sythis isn't great. So let's start cantripping. Yeah, that is not what I want. Alright, so is it better to draw a random card with Sythis or just Helm of Obedience my opponent for a large number? I think I'll cast a Sythis. Alright, Destiny Spinner is a great pickup. I will keep the Sythis that can attack. I think I'm going to tap Sarah's Sanctum now. Okay. Now, I will go ahead and fetch. I'm not going to get a Destiny Spinner attack this turn, but I probably have lethal next turn. We'll Wild Growth this land. And we'll just keep the cantrip game going. A Rest in Peace. Don't mind if I do. So this represents lethal here, because I have Rip Helm assembled. Yep, and my opponent has conceded there. GG's. We did the thing this game, and our opponent didn't. Round 3 opening hand is kind of medium minus. It technically has the pieces for Rip Helm, but it's exceptionally slow, and like one counterspell or piece of discard rips apart this hand. So I'm just going to mulligan this one. This hand has mana acceleration, but nothing to do. I could go land, Utopia Sprawl. Like, I can get a turn 3 Enchantress effect into play, but I don't think that's better than just trying to mulligan to a turn 2 Enchantress effect. Oh, no. What am I? This is 5. I probably keep this on 5. And I think I'll just toss back one of each of these and keep a balanced hand. I don't think I want to play around a Stifle effect. I think I want to hide what sort of deck I am for a turn cycle. Okay. So this is potentially Elves or an Elves-like deck. You blow up a land. You can. I think I am fine with doing that. One of these will grab a forest. One of these will grab a plains. All on thin ice. Nuke the Dryad Arbor. And call it a turn. Okay. Elves confirmed. We have some soft lock options available versus this deck. Solitary Confinement's pretty good. Not necessarily just like game over, but they usually have one out to that. One Reclamation Sage. Although they have multiple virtual copies of it due to Green Sun allowing them to find more, as well as Natural Order, technically. We got a wow from the chat. It's a fun one. Yeah, if you're not an old man legacy player like me, you might not have seen too much Enchantress. Oh, it's one of their all-time favorites. That's why they're excited. Video will be on YouTube next week. I think Friday the 12th. So this is probably the big scary turn where my opponent can pull really far ahead before I start doing my thing. I think I need 2 turn cycles to really start doing my thing. Oh, please don't Natural Order for Archon. I think that can name enchantment and just hose me. Okay. Oh, or I can just die. I was chatting in chat and I thought Quirion Ranger had activated already. Alright. Death to me in game 1. Alright, I want Elephant Grass. I think I want Authority of the Councils here. Just makes the Glimpse turns considerably worse. And I might play Emrakul. I think Mary's Guile is probably slow here. I think Enlightened Tutor is probably slow here. And then from here, I'm not exactly sure. Maybe I don't want this Emrakul. List is a little tight, but I like the single card nature of Emrakul. I don't know. If I win this game, it's because I sort of prison my opponent out. I don't have Doomwake Giant in this list, which is the big way that I can like really crush decks like Elves. I'm straight green white. I might need this oomph. I board down one Rest in Peace. I think Oblivion Ring's pretty slow as a removal. I mean, my plan isn't to kill my opponent's creatures for the most part, but to just stop them from attacking. I buy that. Okay, this hand has no gas after I play Sythis. I don't think that's acceptable. This hand has one land and can't cast its spells, unfortunately. Oh, maybe I need the Oblivion Ring for the Archon. No, if the Archon gets into play, I just can't cast the Oblivion Ring. This is fine. I will get rid of one land, and 100% have to keep 2 lands, Utopia Sprawl, Enchantress's Presence, and then it's a question of, like, do I want something that disrupts my opponent, or do I want something that accelerates my own plan? I think I want the On Thin Ice. Yeah. Yeah. I think I just name white with this. I also suppose getting Savannah is a free roll in this matchup, as far as fetching goes. Alright. My opponent hates that I'm mulliganing into Oblivion, but I said I'm not out of this yet. Enchantress's Presence is a hell of a drug. I think I'm just going to play this out this turn, and then go for, you know, a string of relevant spells next turn. If my hand was stronger, I would probably just remove this elf this turn for like Birchlore Ranger Gaia's Cradle reasons, but because my hand is weak, I think I just need to get this into play and get every single card that I can out of the enchantments that are in my hand. Because to start off with next turn, I'll have tap Utopia Sprawl, play On Thin Ice, remove a creature, play Utopia Sprawl with my floating mana on my other forest, and then I'll have at least 2 mana to use on whatever it is I draw between my draw step and the 2 draws that I'll get off of Enchantress's Presence. Alright, we'll see how badly I get punished for playing double punished. Oh, that is brutal. That is absolutely brutal. That is the literal worst case scenario. Okay. I'm going to cast On Thin Ice. I'm going to remove the Rex Sage. Birchlore Ranger is, like, in terms of comboing, the scariest thing on the board. But if my opponent gets a Green Sun or a Wirewood Symbiote and can recur Rex Sage, I'm not going to win this match. So I just need to take that card out. Alright. Opponent is going to put on a show here. Okay, so there's a mana off the Birchlore Rangers. Yep. So this sort of thing would have beaten me if I didn't remove the Rex Sage. Obviously, the Birchlore Rangers is very good here as well, but with my hand being as soft as it was, just Wirewood Rex Sage is not something that I can power through. Okay. It's just Elvish Visionary. So they only have Glimpse, Wirewood Symbiote, Elvish Visionary. It's no big deal, right? Right? Okay, maybe. Maybe it's a big deal. Okay, there's a Green Sun for 1. That could just be an Allosaurus Shepherd and I could die next turn. Nope, going for mana off Heritage Druid to get the most off of this turn. There's some world where I do die this turn, but it involves a very large Craterhoof. Well, they could get some more untaps. Right now, in all likelihood, it would be a Craterhoof and a Nettle Sentinel attacking. I have hooked my little cord behind my chair. Life is awful. Okay, everything is better other than the board state. Board state, still pretty terrible. Alright, I am falling behind. I will basically need the perfects in order to get out of this situation. We need to be something like Enchantress effect, cast Utopia Sprawl, draw a card, and get, I don't know, I don't even know if like an Elephant Grass would be good enough at this point. Solitary Confinement and just be the ultimate lucker. Okay, there's another Wirewood. So there can be a bounce and an untap and keep the chain going. The opponent has chained things together pretty well. Like, this is the point where they have 4 mana and they could just natural order. Nope. Fucked out. Okay, a new green sun. I can get 1 more wirewood. So they'll bounce a creature, untap an elf, and they can make 3 mana again. Now all 4 wirewoods are in play, so they don't get that line again. Alright. I might be safe from a natural order now. But I should be just exceptionally dead next turn. It's like a green sun, a natural order, or a hoof kills me in my opponent. Well, they have a lot of onboard redraws since they have 4 wirewoods towards just obliterating me. They can also just keep going and basically infinitely cast the 1-drops in their hand. Oh god, I hadn't realized they didn't do that yet. Oh, okay, they still do not have a hard win con, which is lucky for me. Yeah, 13 mana. Getting pretty close to the point where a fireball effect could kill me. Alright, there is the green sun for hoof, and I will die. Unseed. Two 17/17 plus sized attackers. We'll do it. GG's. Alright, my round 4 opening hand does not have an Enchantress effect, but it's pretty stable. I'm considering keeping this hand. It's close. Is the ability to have just like uncounterable, untargetable cards all game is pretty appealing in a vacuum. I think I'm gonna mulligan it though. And has an Enchantress effect. Am I on the draw? I am on the draw. I'll probably keep this on the draw. I'm gonna pitch the Helm. I have 8-ish cards that just allow me to play Enchantress's Presence on turn 2. And if I don't play Enchantress's Presence on turn 2, I still have a reasonable turn 2 play. Alright, Tundra. Ponder. So could be looking at something like a Bant deck, or a Miracles deck, or a Stoneblade deck, or a Jeskai Ragstill deck. I am going to fetch a basic Plains around a Stifle on turn 1, unless I draw something green. Alright. Now I've got Sterling Grove into Enchantress's Presence. Going to assume that my Oblivion... Okay, yeah, so we're probably playing against Jeskai Ragstill. Oh, a second Sterling Grove. My opponent can provide a decent amount of onboard pressure with the Urza's Saga, especially if they have something like a Retrofitter Foundry as one of their Urza's Saga bullets. Alright, there's the Force of Will, which seems reasonable. I don't know that this is a must counter, but it's a reasonable counter. The Urza's Saga will tick up, and now my opponent is very likely to dedicate their mana towards just activating that, unless I have something crazy. Alright, so let's fetch. And I will play the Enchantress's Presence out. Okay. It resolves. My opponent will end step create an Urza Saga, main phase, create an Urza Saga token, then get a tutor as well. Yep, there's a second activation. I do not think it is optimal to do that in your upkeep though. Like, you can draw another card and make another decision. So like in a hypothetical world, let's say there was something like a Narset in your deck. You could go and make that decision after you draw, and then like there are times where you wouldn't want that second construct token. Okay, so this is very bad in the face of Caracas. Alright, so quick back at the napkin math. What do I Oblivion Ring to save the most damage over time? If there are 2 constructs in play, Retrofitter Foundry is worth 2 damage a turn. There's 1 construct in play, it's worth 1 damage a turn. Retrofitter Foundry also gives my opponent a mana sink, and also theoretically can make some 4/4s as the game goes very long. Let's play Prismatic Vista, Don't Fetch, and Oblivion Ring with the Retrofitter Foundry. On Thin Ice would be a great draw to get rid of a construct. Yeah, guess I shouldn't have played this land. I played the land to play around Daze, but I didn't think about drawing Serra Sanctum and that specifically allowing me to cast the Rest in Peace that was in my hand. Okay. I don't think it was a misplay, but I wasn't thinking about that specific fringe line. Okay. Dash Ragavan is slightly annoying, but fine. I think I'm going to go ahead and fetch here. Because, like, the Serra Sanctum means that I'm always going to have access to the amount of white that I want to have. I'll take 6 this turn, but the constructs are going to start to get bigger because of the treasure tokens. Okay, they are using the mana. They're casting a Ragavan. Okay. I'd like to find some removal spells. I can play Sythis this turn and get some additional draws. Is that worth my mana? That might be worth my mana. It's gonna be close, because I might have a bottleneck on green. So now I'll cast a Utopia Sprawl. And we'll get some life and card draw. Jesus, that daze is annoying. It's a very good daze. Do I pay? I think I'll pay. Alright, Sythis and a Helm. Pretty cool. I guess I'll name white on the off chance that my Serra Sanctum gets wastelanded. I still have double white next turn. Alright, how much mana is this? This is 4 mana. I'm gonna try to spike a on thin ice here. Oh, baby. So I'll nuke the graveyards. I'll cast an on thin ice. Target some land. If I draw another. Did not draw another. I think the Ragavan is the most dangerous thing here. Constructs hit harder, but the Ragavan makes the constructs bigger. Okay, now I'm out of castable things, and I'll call it a turn. The Sythis was worth casting. I got very good value out of it. That little bit of life is huge. And my opponent can just, like, bounce Sythis at any point. That's fine. Double Helm of Obedience on my turn, which is pretty cool. Oh, just Swords of Plowshares? Well, I don't know. Maybe I have enough mana where that's a play that makes sense for them. I don't. No, it's probably fine. Alright, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Off this. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 mana. And every wild growth effect is basically free. Actually, every wild growth effect nets mana here. So I think I will just be going for a Helm kill this turn. It's very likely to work. So let's tap this wild growth a land. Alright, and I can repeat this line. Wild growth another one. Okay. And now we'll go for broke. We'll cast Helm. Okay. GG. Okay. Thank you, Sythis. You got me to the cards I needed to get to. What do I have for this matchup? Seal of Primordium blowing up Urza's Saga is super cool. I need to respect Pithing Needle off an Urza's Saga as something that can be pretty annoying. I'm going to want Carpet of Flowers. Party of the Councils can stop Dash Ragavan. I'm not sure if that's good enough. 100% of the time, I want Carpet of Flowers and Elephant Grass. Like, those, without question. And then I think, like, Emrakul and Authority of the Councils are reasonable. I don't think I want Veil of Summer. It's, like, reasonable, but I don't know. I think I just trade 1 for 1 with counterspells most of the time. Do I want to play Helm? Or do I want to rely on Emrakul, or a mixture of the two? I don't think I want Enlightened Tutors. I think Mary's Guile is probably cuttable. My cards just seem pretty good. Rest in Peace does stuff versus Murktide. I don't love that it gets shut off by Helm. I love that Emrakul is uncounterable. What does it look like if I board out this package? I can board in Emrakul, Seal. This leaves me with 3 Destiny Spinners and 1 Emrakul to win the game, in addition to just, like, blocking my opponent out. That's a little light. It might be enough still. Let's try it. Oh, this does not have enough land. This is just Snap Mulligan. This is a keep, but I'm not super happy about it. I really want the turn 1 Accelerant versus this deck so that I can play a turn 2 play around days. But you can't always have it all. Alright. Do I want to play Elephant Grass on 1 and slow this game to a crawl? I think I'm good with that. If this gets countered, that's fine. If it doesn't get countered, that's fine. It either costs my opponent 2 mana or costs them a treasure and a potential card. I would also just love if this got dazed. Okay, it has resolved. That was a long enough pause that I think my opponent does have a counterspell, but yeah. Alright. Okay, so they are gonna pay. That's fine. Alright, so you can cast an Enchantress's Presence. No? Don't want to do that? Okay, now do I want to cast Argothian Enchantress into Daze? I don't think I do. Try to play around that if I can. Ooh. Well, don't stifle me. Didn't get stifled. Do I cast it? I think I cast it. The upside is insane. And if this doesn't resolve, then next turn I just cast it. Argothian Enchantress, knowing that, like, my opponent has had a great opportunity to use a Daze already. Okay, that's a Force of Negation, pitching a Murktide. Alright, there's Urza's Saga. I will probably blow that up with Seal of Primordium, rather than cast the Enchantress on my turn. Just stopping that potential value is really good. We'll see if my opponent casts his Sterling Grove. It, quote-unquote, doesn't do anything with the stuff in there. Oh no, it fucking would. Would give their Urza's Saga Shroud, and then I can't blow it up with Seal of Primordium. Oh no! Oh, please don't cast it. Please don't cast it. Oh no. Damn it. Wow. Alright, I think I need to let the Elephant Grass go now. Hopefully spike a land for Argothian Enchantress. No such luck. I think I do need to play the Shroudy one here. Okay, great, it resolved. And now I need to dodge like a Blazing Volley type effect. I can just kill it around Shroud. Hello, Ragavan. Thanks for visiting. An Argothian Enchantress. These are getting a little weird. There's also some tension though, because like my opponent wants to keep treasure tokens around to make the constructs bigger, because that just kills me faster. Don't know that it is correct to cast that Enchantress. It was very correct to cast the Sterling Grove. Okay, it looks like they are going to do it. But this means like they have no treasures left over going into the next turn. Assuming they like sacrifice Treasure Tundra to activate Urza Saga. Oh, they've got a land, so they can keep a treasure around. There's a very long pause there, though. See what they were thinking about. Okay. So they're just going to turn my Serra Sanctum into something that taps for 1. Okay, yep, Serra Sanctum confirmed the name. If I play Destiny Spinner, it's played into like both Days and like Swords to Plowshares in this turn cycle, which isn't the best. I cast the Elephant Grass and hope to either find another 1-drop or a land that allows me to keep going this turn. Oh. So, Wild Growth, one of my lands, hope to draw a new land. And on Thin Ice is not necessarily a bad draw, but I don't have white mana right now. So, could draw in the future, not now. Here's the Urza Saga token. And now we'll see what my opponent does with the rest of their turn. I assume they make the construct, which means that they're not actually attacking this turn due to Elephant Grass. They can like grab a Pithing Needle for my Helm, so they can't just die out of nowhere. Nope, they're going for a Retrofitter Foundry. Oh, they have a new Urza Saga as well. Now they can make 1 attack this turn. And the Ragavan makes sense because it attacks for 2 and also grows both of the constructs, and that means that's worth more damage next turn. Let me mute this. Okay. My opponent can attack with 2 creatures, given the mana that they have. This is probably worth 1 mana for me. Man, these seals are getting hosed by my own Sterling Grove in a very unfortunate manner. I think I need to spike a white source here and play on Thin Ice. Nope. I think this is the point where I have lost this game. But I'll make my opponent do it. Because there's some ways that they can like miscalculate what to do with their turn and end up a little behind. And things like Solitary Confinement can single-handedly stop my opponent from doing what they're doing. I guess Solitary Confinement isn't an out because I can't draw both a white... Well, no, I can. There's some very specific hoops I would have to draw through to get a solitary confinement into play. We need to draw like a Utopia Sprawl and then get a card draw into a solitary confinement. This is not lethal, so I am just going to take this. I'll go to 3. You got a bullet, you got a bolt. And I just have to sacrifice this to play to my outs. Okay. Well, we'll try. Casting on Thin Ice. This will remove an Urza Saga construct. Now, yes, I will play more blockers. Okay, more on Thin Ice is cool, but I wish I could cast it this turn. And I kind of fizzle out here. I'll be able to survive this next turn cycle, I think. You know, minus Lightning Bolt just happening. If my opponent has a Pyrite Spellbomb, I can also just die to the Urza Saga, but, you know, if that happens, it happens. Okay, there's a new construct. Sure, Pithing Needle is fine. But again, if my opponent had a Pithing Needle, why didn't they get it the first time instead of Retrofitter Foundry? I don't think the Retrofitter Foundry does too much. I am basically down to an Emrakul, though. Or how I can actually win this game. The Ragavan attack good. I have 2/2/3s. You also can't make that attack prior to fetching with Flooded Strand. Oh shit, I got rid of my Elephant Grass. Whoops. Okay. Sorry, I'm slightly distracted. I answered a message mid this match that you probably didn't see. And so now I am thinking about that. Alright, goodbye, Ragavan. A young Pyromancer. That's a little spicy. Okay. What is the way that I best win this game? Probably by finding Solitary Confinement. I think that just means casting 1-drops rather than putting the Sythis into play. Alright, that's Emrakul. White? I think white. Let's cast On Thin Ice here. Pay the white. This still leaves me with 3 mana to cast Solitary Confinement. Nope. Alright, I remove a construct. I have 3 mana remaining plus a land drop. At this point, I can't play Solitary Confinement. I should probably just play the Sterling Grove, because that guarantees that I can get Solitary Confinement next turn. Not the best for me. Oh, wait. There's a Destiny Spinner in play. Lol. Okay. Well, I'm good. Let's go Seal. And I need to set a stop on my upkeep. And we'll call that a turn. Okay, so they're going to make a 1/1. Yeah, they're going to make a 1/1. That's fine. Margins are tight here. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Standstill. Okay. I wonder if my opponent sacrificing that means that I get to, like, super blow them out with Sarah's Sanctum. Could play a Seal of Primordium. See what this turn cycle looks like. I have to block 2 of these and blow 1 up, so I lose my Enchantress effect. Okay. So, probably looks something like block the Young Pyromancer. Block 1 of these. Okay. Seal of Primordium. Blow up this. And I'll go to 1. So upkeep, I'm going to grab Solitary Confinement. So that costs me this. Then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana, which is Sythis plus Solitary Confinement. And then I can play 1 land on top of that. So I'm okay. Solitary Confinement. Draw Sythis. Oh, actually, can I Seal of Primordium? Seal of Primordium, blow up Alpine Moon. Have 1 mana floating. Yeah, that's potentially optimal. But I might just want to save this Sarah's Sanctum to cast the Emrakul. So next turn, I'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana off Sarah's Sanctum. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'll be a little short. Yeah, maybe Maybe I am playing towards casting that Emrakul that way, though. Let's just cast this and see where we go. I don't need to play it around days. My opponent has no cards in hand. Okay. Utopia Sprawl effects are great here. Alright, so I will go Forest, Utopia Sprawl. I guess we can always yield to Sythis at this point. I'm green for that. Now I've played my land drop. Done the things that I need to do for turn. The Destiny Spinner attacks safe. My opponent can pay 1 mana to turn this into a Thopter. 3 mana on tap it. No, a Destiny Spinner attack is not safe. Okay, now we're going to see some end step servo stuff. Alright, a quick mana count. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, plus Sarah Sanctum. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Lol. So I do just have Emrakul. We'll discard Prismatic Vista. I will also just do a double check real quick, because I need to cast Emrakul the same turn as Sarah Sanctum. Alright, so counting my mana. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Yeah, okay. Oh shit, the Alpine Moon's still in play. Shit. Oh, the Wasteland's tapped. I hope I didn't just punt this. Alright, yeah, you get your cards off standstill. Oh god, I wish I didn't do this way. Okay, Sythis gets Swords to Plowshared. Well, that's bad. That decreases my enchantment count. So I'll destroy the Alpine Moon. Then I think I'm short of Emrakul. 8, 9, 10, 13. I'm short of Emrakul. So that means we have to do this way. Oblivion Ring. Blow up the Pithing Needle on Destiny Spinner. This is green. Do these trample? They do trample. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They're 8 8s with trample. Okay. Green. I'll activate this, targeting this forest. And then things can go wrong here. This is 4, right? Yep. I'll activate this, targeting this land. Now this land can die, and it sucks for me. This is 16 damage. It's not lethal, but it's real close. I don't want Destiny Spinner to get killed here, because I require that next turn to get my kill. Okay. Puts my opponent to almost dead. My Sarah Sanctum is going to get wastelanded. Yeah, alright. You've made a critter. So this will be 1 activation, and this will be 1 activation. Yeah, I guess I just need to, like, kill over 2 turns. Like, I get, I get some discards for solitary confinement. Oh, that's bad. Now, as long as my opponent wastelands me, I'm in trouble. Yeah, okay, there's the wasteland. So that just means I have to discard, because this stuff doesn't win the game. 1. That won't count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Just short of Emrakul. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to discard the Emrakul or the forest. I think it's the Emrakul. I want the mana. Oh shit, I'm not supposed to discard either. I'm supposed to... Yeah. I was supposed to just take the draw step there. Also, what game is this? Is this game 2 or 3? Like, am I running down the clock just for the sake of running down the clock here? What did that... Okay. That blew up that. Okay, yeah, sure. See what the top card of my library was, just to see if I messed up there. Would have been a Sythis, so the Sythis wouldn't have gotten me there. Okay, there's not a lot of time left for this next game. Does that change how I want to play things? Also, just, like, knowing Alpine Moon exists impact how I want to change things. Also, tricky. Like, the Rip Helm combo is appealing as a way to quickly end the game, but I think my turns are relatively short. I think I'm just going to resubmit as is. I will just be more proactive about just playing rather than puzzling through things. I think I'm down on time a little bit, but I'm unsure who is more likely to time out. I have a lot of triggers to manage, but my opponent has to cantrip. Yes, I would like to play first. Yes, this hand is a keep. I need to eliminate that stop ASAP. Fetch a forest, play Utopia Sprawl. I'm going to put this on white in case my Serra Sanctum is destroyed. Get rid of that stop. I get rid of this stop on my opponent's upkeep. Okay, that is a Ragavan. Okay. Let's go Serra Sanctum, Argothian Enchantress, on Thin Ice. Even if it doesn't resolve, it still destroys Ragavan. Or sorry, I still draw a card off of it. What I meant to say. No lock, do your thing. We're starting to see some moto lag on both sides of the table here. Can't exactly tell what my opponent is doing. Alright, Young Pyromancer is what they're doing. Okay. Oh, this is super awkward. But it is what it is. Oh, that's very good. Now I get another green this turn. Which means that I can Elephant Grass. Now I'm out of green. So that's my turn. I wish I had rebooted my game during sideboarding. Like, I am probably more likely to lose this game to moto lag than to my opponent actually killing me. Yep, sacrifice your stuff. That's fine. I will take 4, go to 12. My opponent found solitary confinement, which is kind of funny. Yeah, so my opponent is spending plenty of time thinking about things like Ponder. Pay for this, absolutely. Sythis is a great draw. Oblivion Ring's not bad either. I'm gonna cast that. I don't really have time to think too much about my sequencing here. Junk the Ragavan. I'm gonna play a new Serra Sanctum and just Legend Rule the old one. I want a Sterling Grove now. Play an On Thin Ice. Enchant some land. This one will get the Young Pyromancer. Already played a land. That's my turn. I should have thought about Sterling Grove more, but whatever. I'm losing a lot of time to the moto lag here. I don't have Rip Helm in my deck right now, so I basically need to draw Emrakul or Destiny Spinner pretty quickly. Yeah, we're in turbo mode. Yeah, goodbye. At this point, I think I can sacrifice my Elephant Grass. Oh, I should get on Thin Ice right here. Okay, so in fact do that. Oh shit, I have to click that. Grab on Thin Ice. Cast Carpet of Flowers. Use that to draw on Thin Ice. Cast on Thin Ice, targeting some land. Junk Murktide. Gonna play out the Serra Sanctum. I don't think it's optimal for me to play out the Serra Sanctum. But time. Now I'm gonna go to my second main phase and make more green mana. I'll get a Sythis attack in too. Carpet. Yes. Green. Destiny Spinner. Need to always yield to that. Do a Utopia Sprawl. God, I wish these went on the stack automatically. Name green. End turn, discard a bunch of land. I can't tell if it's moto lag or if I need to discard more cards. It's moto lag. Looks like one of my critters got lightning bolted. Alright, you're gonna name my Serra Sanctum here. I'll blow that up with Seal of Primordium. Yes. Green. Seal. That's a Destiny Spinner. Blow up Alpine Moon. Come on, Moto. I'm going to lose. Moto lag. That's a shame. Alright. That's fine. GG's. But this game is over in my favor at this point. I could have conceded game 2 earlier. I could have restarted the client. That was in my control. Alright, Moto has been rebooted. I will be keeping my opening hand for this game. We have a turn 2 Enchantress's Presence, which is exactly what I'm looking to do. So the official scoreboard is 1-3. The sort of, scoreboard in my heart is that this is a 2-2 right now. If we get stifled. Did not get stifled. Let's go ahead and Utopia Sprawl. I think I'll just be naming green here. They don't have something like a Sythis that makes me want to have green-white and then play Utopia Sprawl immediately afterwards next turn. I guess I don't need an upkeep stop right now. If we get stifled again. I think I'll take the basic plains here. And Enchantress's Presence. My hand's real soft if this gets countered. Yay! Mostly yay, though. If my opponent is not interacting with an Enchantress's Presence via a counterspell, and they're also not, like, doing anything in their first 2 turns, that makes me think combo. Oh, nope. Okay. I mean, they still could be Aluren. Let's see what they've got going on here. Oh, just Prismatic Ending. I mean, that's pretty good. Also pretty good is what I have going on now, though. Let's Wild Growth this land. Do I want a Utopia Sprawl? I think I do want to just Utopia Sprawl this as well. Oh, I have to choose this, right? Okay, play around soft permission better next turn. Play this, I guess. Alright, the Rest in Peace resolves. And then next turn I do have... I guess I shouldn't F6, because my opponent could technically play a legendary creature. I'll take the beating from the Icefang Coatl. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's just jam. Let's change how I do that. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4. Cast the Helm this way. Alright, the Brainstorm in response. I now need this upkeep stop again, potentially. Alright, there's a fetch. Will we see a Force of Will or Force of Negation? Another Brainstorm. Oh, okay, we just straight up stole that one. Okay, so in a vacuum, my opponent is playing a blue deck. I probably board in Carpet of Flowers. Beyond that, it's a little hard to tell what exactly I do want. My opponent is probably playing Bant. Like Control, but they could be playing Aluren. And I want very different cards for those matchups. So for example, versus Aluren, I want Authority of the Councils, because I don't think they can combo off through that with the Acerak version. I'm going to board out Enlightened Tutor 100% of the time, I think. I think I'm going to board out Solitary Confinement, or at least go down to one of them, and board in an Emrakul in that slot. From here, could play Veil. But I'm kind of pre-board ready for these sorts of matchups, so I think I'm just going to hit submit. Well, I say these sorts of matchups. If it's Bant, I'm sort of pre-boarded for it. If it's Aluren, I want to sideboard. I don't know. I also don't feel like MTG goldfishing my opponent here, which is probably what I should do. But if I'm being honest with you, my tummy is a little bit rumbly, and it is lunchtime. I'm trying to finish up this round. All right, Tundra Pass. We've got turn 2 Enchantress's Presence, followed by turn 3 Enchantress's Presence. Let's grab a Forest. They paused for a second, and I was like ever so slightly scared that they were going to have Stifle. Which would be a significant setback for me. Alright, Brainstorm away, friend. There's the expected fetch. Oh, not going to fetch immediately, though. I think I just want to jam Enchantress's Presence. If my opponent uses their entire turn to Prismatic Ending it, then I just do it again and play Wild Growth and get an immediate draw off the next one. I am good with that. Fetch away. Alright, Forest is the pickup. So now they can Prismatic Ending away in Enchantress's Presence. Which is what happens. Ooh. Sythis is pretty good here. Let's cast Sythis, because Sythis doesn't get Force of Negation, whereas Enchantress's Presence does. Now I'll go ahead and fetch. Grab a basic. I can Wild Growth this. And then still play the Destiny Spinner afterwards. Getting another pause for my opponent. I can't think of a world where they do want to, like, counter a Wild Growth here. Well, okay, like, maybe if they have a removal spell for Sythis and they're worried that I will just, like, string together too many cards if this Sythis lives. I guess that's the world. Ooh. I think I will just cast the Destiny Spinner, though. Serra Sanctum, not a bad draw. Now I'm pretty good even if like some of my onboard stuff gets removed. A sweeper there that killed Sythis and Destiny Spinner at the same time would have been a little bit annoying, but otherwise life's okay. Alright, Abundant Harvest. Oh, a Force of Vigor. Now that's very good. I assume in my upkeep I'm going to get Force of Vigor for Destiny Spinner and Sythis. Yep. Bring a Sylvan Library. That's fine. Oh, Carpet is great. So let's go 1, 2, 3. Enchantress's Presence. I need this not to get countered. Nice. So I'll cast a first main phase Carpet here. And I think I will play Sarah Sanctum. I will enchant it to use my floating mana. Now I'm going to go to my second main phase here and make the mana with Carpet of Flowers. Yes, I will make green. Let's cast some Utopia Sprawls, shall we? Argothian Enchantress is a great pickup. Let's name green. Play the Argothian Enchantress. I'll tap this for a bunch of mana. I'll Utopia Sprawl, a land, draw 2. A Sythis. I can't cast that, but it's great redundancy. Guess I'll name white with this. I'm doing pretty good on green mana now. On the off chance that something like a back to basics were to happen to my opponent. Do I want to do this on myself? I don't think I want to do it on my opponent either. I don't think I want to, like, accidentally sacrifice my Helm for one of their creatures. Their creatures aren't that good. Assuming they're Bant control, which it's looking more and more like they are, like, given abundant growth. So the current thing that I have to think about is whether or not I'm going to activate Carpet of Flowers in the first or second main phase. There's advantages to both. The advantage of doing it in the first main phase is primarily using it to fuel Destiny Spinner. And the reason to do it in the second main phase is it gives me more flexibility. I think I'm going to do it in the first main phase, because I think I'm just going to vomit cards everywhere. I don't think I need the flexibility. I think I just need to cast cards and I'll win the game somehow. Okay, that's not a big deal. Yeah, I still have On Thin Ices in the deck. I can win via that. I also boarded in the Emrakul, right? Yeah, I also boarded in the Emrakul. Yeah, there's an O-ring for it anyway. Let's go, yes. Let's make green. Start out on Sythis. Oh, another Enchantress. And another Enchantress. Let's play this one. I think it's fine to just tap the Sarah Sanctum now. It's making a lot of mana. Let's use my white mana, which is kind of like my colorless mana. And always yield to all of these. Okay, yeah, my opponent has had enough. That's fair. GG's. Okay, so there's the official scoreboard 2-3, but, you know, in my heart, 3-2. Overall thoughts on the deck list? Good. I kind of miss Doomwake Giant. That card is really powerful, and it allows me to get through boards of small creatures. You know, there were a decent number of times where the Urza Saga tokens that were in play were only like 2/2s or 3/3s, and having something like a Doomwake Giant to clear them out would have been pretty good. But the mana base is really consistent here, and there's something to be said for that. I think the worst card in the main deck is Enlightened Tutor. Again, I don't particularly think that's a strong legacy card. I don't think Enchantress needs it. I would much rather just have, you know, Abundant Growths or some other 1-mana enchantment that can just keep me churning through my deck. Like, we did not use the tutor ability of Enlightened Tutor or Sterling Grow very much in this match, or sorry, in this entire league. I don't know if I'd go so far as to say, like, it's not a playable card here, but I don't think it's a strong card here. As far as the sideboard goes, I felt like I had decent sideboarding options every round. I feel like Elephant Grass is a little bit worse than it used to be. I don't know that I can pinpoint exactly why, but it used to feel like an Elephant Grass would hit play, and then like the game slowed to a crawl. And this league, when I actually had the Elephant Grass, like my opponent was just like paying and attacking into it. Maybe that's because some of the threats right now, like Urza Saga and Ragavan, sort of spiral on their own. Not 100% sure. Like, I think the deck still needs Elephant Grass, but I feel less good about it than I did a year or two ago. I am not sure if Veil of Summer is actually worth the slots. Like, I've said this a lot, but I think in decks that are mostly looking to tap out, Veil of Summer isn't particularly potent. I understand the utility that it has. You know, it can protect things from abrupt decay type effects. You know, it can force your things through. But a lot of times you're just like, oh, you had a counterspell? That's fine. Like, I drew 2 cards off that thing you countered. And it's just okay that your stuff gets countered. That's kind of the attitude that I've had towards Veil of Summer in these fair sort of decks. Is that, like, a lot of times you're trying to play on curve and you can't necessarily hold back to Veil of Summer. I think that's all that I have to say about this one. It was a fun league. I enjoyed it a lot. If you enjoyed it a lot, please click the like button. That's the easiest way to support me for free. If you're really enjoying, please consider subscribing for Legacy, Modern, and Vintage content 5 days a week. And if you really like what I'm doing, consider becoming a YouTube member to gain access to some exclusive videos. All right, have a great rest of the day, folks.